Hello and welcome into this week's episode of the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show. As a lot of you can probably guess already, this is not J-Kenn. Unfortunately, J-Kenn had a slight of a farming accident. So what took place is, if you guys know, when you castrate a bull at the farm, you put a little rubber band around its testicle, and eventually that cuts off circulation and the testicles fall off. Well, J-Kenn was over at Grandpa's farm and he got curious, put it on his testicles to see how it would feel, couldn't get it off, and you could guess what happened. But fear not, my loyal listeners. Casadilla has recently reached out. She has found J-Kenn's testicles, and they are back in her purse where they belong.
That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible.
Yes. And as you hear now, we do have a guest, and this is why J-Kenn has asked me, Josh, to step in this week, because this guest is anything but ordinary.
Right.
But he was on a limited time slot, and we really wanted to get this interview done. So, Mr. Nigel Lennox, you mind if I call you Nigel? Or
you can call me Nigel, you can call me Lenny, Lennox, Nigel, whatever floats your boat. There.
We'll stick with Nigel.
All right. So what is this now, a podcast? This is the first time I think I've ever done something like this, to be honest with you. I've never done... What, is this on the radio or something?
Yeah, this will be streaming.
Oh, streaming, yeah, sure.
So on your telephone or through your radio or on the interwebs.
Yeah, right. I've heard about this.
So,
sure, yeah.
So let's do a slight introduction for. I mean, I know J-Kenn's a huge fan of yours, but to be honest, Sir Nigel.
Yeah, right. Yes.
I haven't really heard much about you, but what I have
you haven't heard of me ever,
no.
Have you? Oh, really? That's
you're a songwriter?
Yes, right. I'm a songwriter from England. I was back in the day, in the 60s and the 70s, the British invasion, they called it, and I was a part of that, the whole thing. But
with the Beatles?
Well, I knew the Beatles, yes. Yeah, George and Ringo, yeah, they're good folks. The Rolling Stones, The Who, all good people. I've worked with them all many times.
Well, I'll try to do this justice here. I do have a couple notes from J-Kenn.
It's kind of crazy. Last time I saw Paul McCartney, he was, he's living in, I don't know where he's living nowadays. I've kind of lost touch, but, and here I am. This is kind of this, you call this a studio, or what is this that I'm sitting in?
This is the Buxty Hootie Studios.
The Buxty Hootie Studios, okay, all right. Yeah, this is kind of a fall from grace, if I do say so myself. This is, but what are you going to do, I guess?
It's a work in progress.
So what do you want to ask me? I'm here.
Well, the first question he's got written down here is, how did you get your start into songwriting?
Well, that's a great question. Is this your first time interviewing?
Well, yeah, I'm just going off the notes I have.
All right. Well, what's your name again? Joshua, right?
Josh. Yeah.
Joshua or Josh?
Yeah, either way works.
All right. So, Josh, yes, that's a very good question. I got when I was a young lad, back in England, I had a teacher, and I went to school, and this teacher, she would write poetry. And she was, I fancied her quite a bit. She was very attractive and everything, and I liked her. I wanted her attention, and she liked poetry, as I said. So I started writing poetry a little bit when I was, just young, 12, 13, something like that. And, and then one day I was at home writing, and my father came home from the factory, and he beat me, and he said, no son of mine's going to be a poet, So he beat me pretty good. He was drunk. He was a drunk, and he beat me pretty good. And I said, well, if I'm not going to be a poet, could I sing songs? Can I be a songwriter? like on the radio, and he just passed out. So I never really got the answer from him, but I just figured I guess I'll just do that instead, you know. So that's how I started songwriting, and then I did never win the affection of the teacher, but if she's dead now, I guess that's not gonna help. But I was gonna say if she's listening, but she's dead.
So how did you? Sorry to hear that, but how did you get your first break? Like, and you mentioned the Beatles. Who are some of the other bigger names that you've worked with?
Well, you know, I've worked with lots of people.
Is there any song on the radio that we would
also? You ever hear that song, "Comfortably Numb" by?
Oh, sure, Pink Floyd.
Yes, right. Yes, you know that song.
Yes.
Are you like Pink Floyd?
Yeah, I like Pink Floyd.
Oh yes. Do you listen to them in your car, in your automobile?
Once in a while, yes.
No, have you ever heard of the song? Have you ever heard the song? What's his name? "Comfortably Numb."
Yes. Yes, I have.
Why is so funny?
Well, that's the second time you asked me that, Sir Nigel. But yes.
Today I asked you that today. I asked you that just before.
Yeah. just about 5 seconds ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
I
no judgment.
I've had lots of. Well, I've been drinking today. Do you drink at all?
Not during the week.
A week?
Week. Well, today's Monday, so I had
Well, a week is 7 days. You don't drink during the week, you said.
Well, Monday through Friday. Work on school nights, I don't drink.
What do you drink?
You know, water. Soda.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Apple juice.
You have a lot of fun, don't you? Apple juice. Yeah. Okay, all right. So yeah, right. So anyway, "Comfortably Numb." I wrote that. Well, I didn't write it. I was more of a consultant on that one. You know, I didn't get a writing credit or anything. But how I got my first big break, I would have to give that to John. You know John Lennon, right? You never heard of him?
Oh yeah.
So I was in a park one day, and I know how to play guitar a little, so I was in the park, you know, and I'm playing guitar and I'm singing a song, and this man comes up to me. He says, "My Lord, I never heard of something so beautiful in my life." Well, I said, "Well, I don't know. It's just something I wrote down." He said, "You wrote that?" I said, "Yeah, I wrote that, sure." He said, "Could you think you could write another song like that?" I said, "I suppose I could." And that was John Lennon.
From the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles. Have you heard of them?
The Beatles, yes. Yellow Submarine.
Well, this is before all that. This is when they first started. Oh. You know, they weren't. I don't even know if he met Paul yet. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be Paul McCartney. I'm not lying to you. Me and John went and got tea that afternoon, and we talked some more. And I told him some other songs that I wrote. I wrote, you know, the three-legged coffee table, for example. That was a song that I wrote. He thought that was really nice. I wrote what was some other song? You know, this is a long time ago, Josh.
Yeah,
you know,
I haven't heard of the three-legged coffee table.
No, that one never made it to record. The Lonely Park Bench. That's the song I was actually singing in the park that day. I saw a park bench.
Sitting on a park bench?
What's that?
While sitting
No, I wasn't sitting. No, I was sitting on the ground. I was sitting on the grass. But I saw a park bench. You know, it's funny. I saw the park bench, and I thought it was lonely. And I was like, well, I never thought about it till this moment. I could have just sat on it, and we both would have kept ourselves company. But I didn't do that, I guess. But I wrote the song "The Lonely Park Bench," and John just thought that was incredible. But then one day, he had a girlfriend, you know, and I slept with her, Josh, and he didn't like that very much. So we didn't talk for 2-3 years, I would suppose.
Yeah, I would imagine that wasn't something he looked fondly upon.
No, he was upset. Yeah, he was very upset. I didn't really understand what the big deal was, you know.
So is that the reason why you weren't in the Beatles?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, it's probably the reason why I wasn't in a lot of bands. I never really looked at women as possessions. I thought they were there to share.
How many famous people's girlfriends have you slept with that kept you out of bands?
Just famous people that I slept with.
Well, maybe all together, or
Everyone I've ever slept with. Anyone? Well, geez, Josh, I started as a young man, 14 years old or something. I'm 78 years old today. 365 days in a year. I would have to say 4,647.
4,647.
Yes, yeah, I would say
you've slept with.
Yeah, and I would like to say they're all women, but the end of the '60s were wild.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, there's just parties, parties. Everyone's there, everyone's doing stuff. I'd like to say they're all human, but I can't say that to you and be, hand on the Bible. I can't say that to you. It was a weird time. It's crazy. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They called it. A lot of sex, a lot of drugs. Very little rock and roll actually. But
what a time to be alive! What a time to be alive!
No, yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
So, Nigel, not to change the subject here, but
no, that's all right. Yeah.
Is your father your father obviously passed?
Yeah, my father passed away. Yeah.
Did he ever let you know that he was proud of you for taking?
No, he never said that ever. No, my father. No, he was a drunk. He was a drunk. He worked at the factory, the knob factory, actually, and where I come from.
Doorknobs?
Yeah, doorknobs. Doorknobs, drawer knobs, knobs for cabinets, and doorknobs for or not bread boxes. You put the knob on there. They made all sorts of knobs, really lovely knobs. The nicest knobs. I would say 80% of the world's knobs came out of that factory, actually. But he wanted me to work at that factory as well, and I said, I'm not going to work at a factory. I'm going to be a songwriter. I'm going to live a dream. I'm not going to be a knob maker.
Yeah.
So he never said that, and like I said, I would say he would come home and he would drink till the next morning. And my mother, God bless her, she didn't do anything about it, Well, she was always out frolicking around herself, My upbringing wasn't that great,
How was your relationship with your mother, if you don't mind me asking?
No, she was a lovely woman, but she was not, she saw her husband and was, he was, did I say he was a drunk? He was never around, he was always at the pub down the road. Oh, that was a story, he was at the pub down the road and my mother was down there as well with another man. And he saw that. He didn't like that very much, but he passed out. He forgot about the next day. They stayed married for another 30 years.
Oh. So do you think that this has inspired some of your song lyrics?
Well, I would have to think so. It inspired one song that I wrote. This was back, in the Beatles and all them, the Who. The Who, right? They write these the Who. Well, oh, that's a good one. Yes, it's very funny. You're a funny man. I wrote a song once called "The Clouds and the Sunshine Have an Eternal Paradise Within My Sea of Eternity," and that was about my relationship with my brothers and sisters and my mother and my father and my aunts and uncles and the neighbors and the school teachers and the farm hands and the maids and mistresses and everybody. That's what that song was about. It was fantastic, I thought. But the record company, they didn't want nothing to do with it. They didn't know a hit when they had it. Really? They went under though.
The record company went under?
No, they didn't. They were fine.
All right. Is there any other songs that were actually made the radio that you wrote?
Have you ever heard the song Shark Tiger?
Shark? You mean like the shark that's called Tiger Shark? There is a tiger shark.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
There's an actual shark. You know, there's like a hammerhead shark, a great white shark, and there's a tiger shark.
Well, no kidding. I wrote a song about, it was called Shark Tiger. Have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Well, see, it was a little different, I guess. I don't know what you're talking about here. I didn't do well in school, you know. I was looking at the stars and the skies and the clouds. But I wrote a song, and it was probably my best hit. It was called Shark Tiger. It was about, a shark, and how did it go again? It was a shark tiger, and it was a tiger. He was going around telling everyone, "I'm a tiger." He was telling people this, and then the people say to him, "You're not a tiger. You live in the ocean. You eat fish."
Shark.
Right. He's not a tiger. He's a shark. But if you're a tiger and you live in the ocean, well, you're probably not a tiger then, are you? You're probably a shark. So it's that, it's that whole thing.
And then if you're a shark that lives on land,
you're probably a tiger.
Yeah,
exactly. That was verse 2.
Yeah.
That was verse 2, exactly. Yeah, that was a good hit of mine. And it got radio airplay in India. And when I was in India for a little while, and I heard it on the radio, and everyone was just giving me so much applause. I tell you, India was a wild time back then. I went over there with George, actually.
George
Harrison.
Oh.
You listen to the Beatles.
Yeah, I've heard a few songs.
Yes, George Harrison brought me over there, and we had a good time. And I didn't even know I was in India half the time. I was so drunk and high, I didn't even know where I was. I thought I was in Africa. For a year and a half, I thought I was in Africa, and I was actually in India.
Well, they're kind of close.
I never, let me tell you something. I never seen a globe. Never looked at a globe a day in my life. Couldn't tell you. But I was just so many drugs and alcohol and women.
How many countries have you been to?
Well, I've been to England, of course, and India. I've been to India, and I've been to America here. I've been to America.
Is this your first time in America?
No, God, no. I've been to America many times. Have you ever? I've been to California. I've spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, LA, Hollywood, all that stuff. Writing songs. Have you ever heard of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young?
Yeah.
You've heard of them.
Bing Crosby?
No, that's not it. Bing Crosby? Is that what you said?
Yes.
No, Bing Crosby. I did meet Bing Crosby one time. He can drink. He can drink like a fish. Me and Bing, oh yeah, we had a good time. That was 1969, I think. No, but when we sing, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Neil Young, you know him. Stephen Stills, right? David.
Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Yeah, are you a fan of Canada?
Yeah. Weather's nice.
I disagree with you on that. I've been to Canada maybe a time or two, and it's fun. I don't ski.
Well, if you are a skier, you go to British Columbia up there.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's kind of like Columbia for the Brits. But the mountains there are actually at sea level.
Wait, hold on a second. It's British Columbia, not in England.
No, it's in Canada.
No, I didn't know that.
And what they did, I think how they named it, they had Britain and they had Columbia, the country Columbia.
What's really the idea of this whole podcast? I don't really understand what's going on here.
That was actually going to bring me to my next question. How did Justin meet you? J-Kenn. How did J-Kenn meet you?
J-Kenn, the person on this.
Yeah, the regular host.
Yeah, where is... No, he doesn't have any testimony anymore.
He's a farming accident.
Oh, he's a farmer.
His family's a farmer. He's a woodworker. I don't know.
He's a woodworker.
If he
Okay.
told you that before.
Oh no, I just met him not that long ago actually. I was at a pub playing. Well, I guess you in America here you call it what, a tavern or a bar
Yeah,
or something.
bar.
And I was playing, and he came in one day, and he said, "My Lord, the words coming out of your mouth are like an angel." He said, "Those are his words, not mine." And I said, "Well, one can only do. I'm just hitting the road, and I just needed a beer, so I stopped at a bar, and I saw a guitar there, so I picked it up and started playing. And he says to me, "Wow, that's incredible." He says, "I have a podcast," and I had to ask him exactly. I forgot what that even was. I don't even know what it was. And then I went in, and he said, "Would you be on my podcast?" I said, "Please, please be on my podcast." So I said, "Well, I guess I could give it a shot, yeah." But he must have known me. I know he must know more about the English, rock and roll bands, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a up and coming podcast, but you're probably the biggest guest to date that's been on it.
Oh, have you ever been on it, Josh?
Well, I have, but
What'd you talk about?
becoming a father. Do you have any children after the 4,000
Yeah.
some
I have voice, sure. Yeah.
encounters?
I got 8 children with 9 different women. Yeah.
8 children with 9?
Yeah, right. It was a very messy situation there, but I have had lots of 8 children, and well, I never was one. I've had 6 marriages, and I never really. I wasn't the most faithful type, Josh. I was always frolicking around myself. One night I came home and I made love to this beautiful woman, and I told her, I said, don't, whatever you do, don't tell my wife, And she literally says, "You asshole, I am your wife." And I was, that story didn't end so well, Josh. I was out on the streets again. But that's where I spend most of my time, on the streets, traveling from here to there to here, playing guitar, singing songs, So that's how it works, But then I got married another time, a time after that, and they never. There was this one girl, Stephanie, I think her name was. Tiffany, maybe. I know it ended with a Y, Josh. Maybe an I. But either way, I married her for a little time, and she was fun. She was okay with the openness of everything. But then I came home and I saw another man in my bed, and I didn't like that. The shoe doesn't fit so well on the other foot.
I imagine.
But whatever. I just changed my ways, I guess.
How was your relationship with your children? Do you still see your children?
My children. Well, no, I don't have many children, Josh.
I thought you said you had 8 children.
Oh, right, yeah. 8, yeah, right. Is that what I said? 8? I'd have to count again. There's Billy and Bobby and Josephine. Richard, of course. Clyde. Maybe 8. I'd have to check.
I'm guessing you don't stay in touch.
Well, I like Clyde quite a bit. Clyde's a good boy, Do you know Clyde? Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Clyde Lennox?
Right, yeah. Clyde Lennox. No, he's a good man, He was what was he doing last? He's kind of one of those traveling, sells you like snake oils and stuff like that. Yeah, and he's kind of on the run right now.
Is he in America or is he in England?
I really don't. I think, ma'am, last I checked, I think he was in Turkey of all places.
Turkey.
Have you ever heard of Turkey?
The country?
No. What?
The country Turkey?
Oh no, I just thought you were gonna make a sandwich. Anyway,
are you hungry? I can see if.
Can you smoke down here, Josh?
No, you cannot smoke down here.
You can't smoke down here.
I don't. This is his house. He's got small children.
No, does he have kids?
Yeah.
No, what a good man. Young kids, nothing better than young kids. I never seen my kids ever when they were little. I was always traveling. I was in a band, Josh, for a little while, too. We were called the Creamers. And we had a good little run at it at the beginning there in the 60s, but then my drummer, he passed away. He jumped off a bridge, and that was the end of the Creamers. We were walking home from the pub one day, Josh, and drummers are weird. There's something not right with drummers. Drummers have something in the brains is not wired right, you know. And we were walking home one day, and he says to me, Nigel, I think I can jump off this bridge and make it to shore. I said, Bobby, there's no way you're gonna make that jump. That's got to be I don't even know. He said, I bet you 50 pounds. I said, don't do it. Well, he jumped off that bridge, died instantly.
Was it water?
Yeah, right, water, yeah, but it's shallow water, Josh.
Oh.
And the first thing I thought, oh, there goes my drummer, you know. And the worst thing is I never got the 50 pounds.
Did you ever think of just getting a different drummer to carry on the band?
Well, I wish you were there back in 1964. That could have helped out quite a bit.
I mean...
Do you drum, Josh?
Do I drum? I did once at a pep rally.
That's right.
That was about it.
Have you ever played a musical instrument?
The recorder.
Oh, right, yes. Do you sing, Josh?
Sing? No, I'm not a big singer.
Try to sing something for me.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't do it justice.
Oh, don't be so modest. I'm sure you do fine. Sing something.
For the listeners' sake, we're gonna skip that.
Oh, the Debbie Downer.
Do you want to sing us a song though? You're the songwriter.
Yes.
You're the talent.
What do you want me to sing? You want me to sing one of these songs that I have?
Yes.
Well, I'll sing. What about the song that started it all off? Lonely Park Bench.
Lonely Park Bench. By Sir Nigel Lennox.
It was a Saturday as I was walking through the park. That's when I saw you all alone. Lonely Park Bench.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Very beautiful.
Yes, that's the song that started it all. Ringo Starr heard that song at the park that day, and he said, that's the most incredible thing I ever heard in my life.
Hey, I thought it was John Lennon.
Did I say John Lennon? Yes, that could have been John, I guess. It's been a long time, Josh.
Yeah, it's one of the Beatles. Beatles a Beatle, right?
Right, exactly. That's what we said back in England, across the pond over there. I was always personally, I like the Who, to be honest with you.
Who's that?
No, you got me again there, Josh.
Sorry, go. So, Nigel, have you been in Cleveland, Ohio, USA?
Sure, I've heard of it.
So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there, and the reason why I ask is I know Pink Floyd, the Beatles, they all have exhibits there.
Sure, yeah.
And then they'll have like credits to like songwriters and stuff like that on there. Is any of your pieces?
Can you believe what I'm about to tell you? I went there once because I did some work with Led Zeppelin. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
So Led Zeppelin, you ever hear of the record Physical Graffiti?
I'm not a big up on my Led Zeppelin, but yeah,
you're not big on Led Zeppelin, are you?
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of them, but
well, anyway, I went. I was on that record, I was on that record.
Physical graffiti?
Yes, I was a backup. I played, session player. You know what that means? Session is when bands are in, writing music and they're recording songs. Sometimes they have people come in and play guitar or backup singers or what have you. And I was on that record a little bit, and then I also helped them write a couple of the songs. And I went to Cleveland, Ohio, to see the exhibit, and under the record, there was exactly what you said. There was a plaque with everyone's name on it, and wouldn't you know it, my name was at the very end, but it got broke off, and it fell off. And I asked, I said, what happened to the bottom of this plaque? My name was there. And they said, oh, the janitor threw it away. Can you believe that?
Oh, what a shame.
And I've been back, and they never fixed it. So it's like, what are you going to do,
I'm a triple diamond Yelper, so I'll leave a Yelp review on that, and we'll see if we can't get that.
Yes, please do. Yeah. Nigel Lennox was on that record. Lennox. And I was, there's a lot of, pretty much anything out of England. Anyone came to me and wanted advice. Black Sabbath, have you heard of them?
Oh, Ozzy Osbourne.
Right. He was the lead singer for a while. Do you know the band though? The Black Sabbath band?
Yep.
Yeah, you've heard of them. Have you know their records?
Not by name.
Not by name. Have you ever heard of the record Paranoid?
Yep.
You know the record?
Yeah, it rings a bell.
All right. Well, I was on that record as well. Ozzy came to me and he said, Nigel, I'm having, what's that called when you can't write? Writer's block.
Writer's block, yeah.
And I said, Ozzy, come on, man. You this is only your second album, I believe, at the time. So I went in and I helped him write the song Paranoid, actually. There was actually it was a song, there was the name of the song, that was the name of the album. And then, did you know it? The song's a big hit on the radio.
So did you get writer's credit?
Well, I called Ozzy. I said, Ozzy, this is incredible. What will I get? Maybe a fee or, credit. Ozzy was so damn drunk, he forgot all about it. He saw my words on the back of a napkin, and the damn fool thought they were his.
So you party with Ozzy often?
Ozzy partied with me.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Nigel. I said you can't smoke down here. Oh. All right. Well, I guess we're smoking.
Sorry about that. What's a man supposed to do here?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, it stinks like mold down here.
Oh, no.
What is this exactly? I was in a place like this once in 1968.
It's a basement.
A woman brought me down to a place like this, and I never said I'd never go back, but I did many times. I couldn't stop.
To the basement?
Nah, it's something different that she had. I don't know what it was. It looked similar though, very eerie.
Oh, is it like a drug den?
Oh, yeah, something like that. Cocaine everywhere. Cocaine. Oh, people were doing all sorts of things. Cocaine. You ever do cocaine, Josh?
I have not.
You haven't?
Too expensive.
Well, yeah. Back in the day, though, it was cheap.
What is there a drug that you have not done in your life?
I never drank gasoline, Josh.
Never drink gasoline.
Yeah, I had to cross my mind, but I never did. I sniffed it. I sniffed gasoline when times were tough. I would go to gas stations and people would be pumping up their gas, their petro, as we call it in England. And I would go and run behind the car and I'd just sniff the gas tank and I'd get a good high off of that. That was young. That's when times were tough, though, Josh. I would smoke. I would smoke anything you could smoke. Everything. One morning, I woke up with my lips wrapped around the exhaust of an automobile. The girl I was with at the time, she says, "Nigel, what the hell are you doing?" I said, "I don't know. I'm just trying to have a good time,
Yeah, people die from.
Well, I'm not gonna die. Not me. I'm like a tank. I've done everything and anything. I'm good to go.
How much money do you think you spent on drugs and alcohol throughout your life?
Well, Josh, I'll tell you, I don't know. That's a lot of money, You talking dollars or pounds?
Let's put it in dollars for our listeners.
Well, I would say $987,643.
How much would that equate pounds?
No, Josh, I'm not a mathematician.
All right. That's a lot of money.
Yes,
So-
one wonders what a guy could have done with that. But I've had such a great time, Josh.
So do you have a home back in England, or do you just...
The world is my home, Josh. The world. I just live in the world, I've had homes, when I've had wives and children and mistresses and all this. I've always had homes, places to go. But now I guess I'm not really quite single. There's a girl upstairs waiting for me.
Upstairs here?
Yeah, that's right. It's some nice little lady I was talking to earlier.
Is that J-Kenn's wife?
She didn't say her name.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know, short little blonde.
It could be. Casadilla?
What? What's her name?
Her name is Casadilla.
Oh my! It's a bloody weird name, isn't it?
It is.
Well, anyway, yeah, she was, talking to me. She was all giddy and everything. So, it just have that effect on women, Josh. When you're a songwriter, when you're a poet, or play guitar, women just, they just flock to you. It's like a magnet, Josh.
Nigel, no, hopefully we don't get too personal here, but, you're, how old are you? 72, did you say?
I'm 79 years old.
79 years old. At that age, performance-wise, sexually, do you have any issues?
No, Josh. I'm on the same medication that Mick Jagger's on.
Viagra?
Yeah, well, it's not that. It's something different. It's like that, but it's more, harder. You have to snort it, and people like me. Yeah, you're not going to get a subscription from the doctor. I'll tell you that right now for it. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know. It's something different. It's purple. You have to snort it through your nose. But yes, when you do it, Josh, I've had an erection now for 13 years. Like, it doesn't go away.
You have an erection right now?
Yes, Josh, yeah.
Are you ever worried about sexually transmitted diseases?
I never heard of that.
Do you use protection when you have intercourse?
Protection?
Like condoms?
Or like a bodyguard or something?
like a condom.
I never heard of that in my life. What is that?
And you only have 8 kids?
Well, last time I did the math, but like I said, I'm not a mathematician. But is there anything else you want to talk about, or are you just like digging around in my underwear drawer, Josh?
Well, sorry, Sir Nigel. I just, I was curious. That's an impressive number of women. Not that's something that...
I thought we were going to talk about my songwriting.
Yes, songwriting.
Have you ever done drugs, Josh?
A little bit in college, experimented with nothing hard, nothing serious, nothing long term.
Oh, nothing. So you just heroin and that was about it?
No, definitely not heroin.
You don't do heroin, Josh?
No, not heroin.
I thought everyone did heroin. Everyone in America, that is.
Well, no.
What about that fella there in America? You had some good bands here in the early 90s. Everyone was doing really well.
Nirvana?
Right, that was it. Nirvana, that guy, yeah. He was into heroin.
Yeah, I think killed him. Dead.
Well, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it, Josh. There's something about drugs and songwriting, when people sober up and get clean, it's just not that good.
I'll agree with you on that. Silverchair, you ever hear of Silverchair? There's a 90s.
It was a song I wrote.
You wrote a song?
I wrote a song called Silverchair. You want to hear it?
Yeah, why not?
Silverchair, I'm on my Silverchair. That's the chorus.
You certainly have a talent. So when the night you met J-Kenn at the pub or bar, was J-Kenn heavily intoxicated?
No, I don't think he drinks.
He doesn't drink.
It didn't seem to me like he was drinking. I don't know. He was drinking Something called Bush Light.
Yeah, that's a beer.
That's a beer.
That's a beer.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't drink much beer, Josh. I just drink, Irish whiskey. It's all I drink.
Jameson.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
How about Scottish whiskey?
No, I don't. Not a big fan of the Scots, Josh.
Oh. Well, I'm did he mention anything? What questions he was going to ask? I mean, we went through my notes already, and
Well, I don't know. We're talking here now for 40 minutes, Josh. I could have had I might have to cut short here and go get a pint down at the pub.
Or Nigel.
Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a format to these shows normally.
All right.
So, unfortunately, we're going to have to skip the email section because I don't have access to J-Kenn's emails. Well, here, let me see. Maybe he still has his college password.
I hope he has an email. That'd be fun to answer any questions that the millions of people listening would love to hear.
Let's see here. Boobies 69. No, it seems like he changed his password on that. So, unfortunately, that's going to have to wait for next week.
How many people listen to this show, Josh?
Well, I would say at least 10.
1,000?
10.
10 people listen to this show.
It's like a kickstart.
Are you one of the people that listens to the show?
I do. I listen to the show. Let's see. We got myself. We got Ange, Dortney, Beth, Christmas Kate, Mr. and Mrs. Sasshole, Harry, Balzac.
Do you know all these people, Josh?
I not personally, no.
I feel like I'm not in the right place.
What? We're hoping now. Do you have social media? Do you know what social media is?
No,
like
Josh, I'm not quite familiar with that.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
No, I've never heard of that.
Pornhub.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Do you have an account on there?
I'd have to ask my people. I would have to ask my people if they do that.
I think J-Kenn's hoping that you share this episode, and then your fans from England and India and all over the world.
Did I tell you that I was in India?
Yeah, just once.
I didn't even know I was there. I thought I was in Africa. We talked about that already.
Indiana?
Indiana. I thought it was India. Huh.
Indiana. India.
Indiana, India.
Yeah, the city Indiana in India.
Well, Josh, I didn't even know I was in India
Yeah.
to start off with, much less the place where I was.
All right. But so anyways, moving along. So then there's other segments. One is an unordinary opinion.
An opinion that's unordinary.
Yeah, so
Okay, right.
so something that most people wouldn't agree with. Do you care to share an unordinary opinion at all?
Something that I don't like or that I like?
Something, yeah, something that you don't like that everyone else likes, or something that you like that no one else likes.
Josh, are you familiar with in England, we have a queen and a king and princesses and princes.
The royal family?
The royal family, yeah, they call themselves that, yeah. I was always a fan of Queen Elizabeth. I was always everyone
like
always
her policies or
her looks, Josh. Her looks. I always.
Well, she's a little bit old.
That was fine with me. I'm also 79 years old,
Well,
Josh. There was something about I always thought about spending a night with a woman with that much power, and her doing things to you, and in your mind you're like you're the most powerful woman in the world. Yeah. But everyone always made fun of me. They're like, "What about Princess Diana?" There was a time they thought
Diana was
right. I took her on a date one night.
Princess Diana. You did?
Sure, yeah, yes. This is before Prince Charles.
You weren't with her the night of the accident, were you?
No, I was not there. No, I was. What accident are you talking about, Josh?
A car accident. She was
Princess Diana's in a car
yeah,
accident.
she was driving away from the paparazzi. I think she was with her secret lover at the time.
Oh, maybe that was me. No, that couldn't have been. Was this recently?
No, this was oh gosh. Maybe in the 90s?
Josh, I don't remember half the 90s, I'll be honest with you. Is she all right?
She didn't make it.
To where she was going?
No, like she passed away.
My lord, I should write her a card. Her family. I bet Prince Charles is heartbroken.
Well, he's actually King Charles now. The Queen also passed away.
The girl, my Queen Elizabeth.
Your Queen Elizabeth.
Josh, this is getting harder and harder. I need to read a book or something or the newspaper.
Yeah, or just turn on the television. Do you watch television?
I don't want that. That's terrible for you, watching television. The telly, we call it. No, it's bad. It's bad for your brain. It takes away from my creative freedom. You know? I could write a song right now, Josh. Would you like me to do that?
Yes, if you don't mind. We got about 15 more minutes. I told you we'd keep this under an hour because I know you're a busy
Right.
man. So.
What's the name of this podcast?
This is called The Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show.
Should we write a song? A
Yeah.
jingle?
Could you?
How about The Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show? Do you think that would work?
Is there any more to that?
That'd be it. It's a jingle, Josh.
A jingle. Yeah, no, that's a good jingle. So J-Kenn does his own little jingle before every episode. Unfortunately, with every like dynamic friendship, there's one with all the talent and there's one with all the looks. And J-Kenn's got all the talent. Well, and he's got all the looks too. I have a perfect face for podcast. So
I met
jingle.
this J-Kenn. I don't know about that. I was drinking quite a bit, but if he's got the looks, my lord. It's not good for you, I tell you.
So, okay. Well, thank you for that. But so then there's also another segment, Song of the Week.
All right, and this is more up my alley.
Yes.
It took us 47 minutes to get to this point here. All right.
So I guess I always wanted to give my Song of the Week, so I'll give up my Song of the Week. And if you have a Song of the Week, we can have more than one Song of the Week. But my Song of the Week would be, I don't know if you've heard of Third Eye Blind. They were popular back in the 90s. They got some poppy songs, but...
Oh, no, Josh. Pop. Oh, sellouts, we call that. Do you know The Who? Have you heard of The Who?
Who's that?
Oh, Josh, you got me again. The Who have a record called The Who Sell Out.
Is that true?
That's true, Josh. I was there, Josh.
And is that one that they're like first big selling?
No, it was later down the line. They were plenty popular before that, but it was kind of I assumed it was to joke about selling out.
I wanna, before we get into the Song of the Week, no, you brought some up. So Sir Nigel, people always make fun of people for selling out. Like, oh, they were so good and they sold out.
Right, yeah.
But no, imagine if you would have quote unquote sold out. Wouldn't your life be so much different now? Like, wouldn't you like the millions and millions of dollars, or are you happy that you didn't sell out?
Well, what can you do with millions of dollars, Josh?
Well, you can buy a nice home.
And what do you do at home? You sleep there and you die. You sleep there and you die.
Put away money for your children's college. I mean, you got 8 kids. That's going to be a hefty college bill.
Well, they all have fathers, Josh. Every one of them.
Yeah, aren't you the father?
Well, in some aspects, I guess you're correct, but
you mean that their mother remarried after?
Well, half their mothers were already married, Josh. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Do they know that you're their dad? All of them?
Well, maybe after this episode. I mean, if not, Nigel Jr. I'm sure if he's listening, that was a weird one. Nigel Jr. was born. His mother's actual husband's named Bill. They called him Nigel Jr. That was weird.
Yeah, that's got some.
Well, that's the kind of impression that I leave on women,
Questions coming up later in life for that young chap. So anyway, the song of the week. So a Third Eye Blind song, like I mentioned.
Sure, yeah.
But it's not.
What does that stand for? Third Eye Blind? Does that mean something?
Yeah, it probably does.
Oh, all right.
I mean, if you got a third eye and you can't see out of it, it's blind.
I suppose you're right.
But they have a song called "The God of Wine," which wasn't one of their popular ones. I don't think it ever made radio.
I like the title.
God of Wine.
I do, yeah. What is it about?
So
the Lord turning water into wine or something?
No, so it's actually about, he actually wrote it about his mother, and it's about drug addiction and losing a loved one to drug addiction.
Really? Yes. Well, it sounds like he had a fun childhood. I don't know if his mother was, drugs.
I don't know if his mom really died or not, but he said he wrote about his mother, but it's kind of open to interpretation.
Are you trying to leave on a high note here, Josh?
What? Yeah, so that's the song of the week. Do you have any song of the weeks that you would like to share?
Oh, Lord, Josh. I mean, how much time do we have, song of the week?
8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. Well, let me think here. So there was that time. Well, I'm going to go with Shock Tiger, I think. That's my true love. Shock Tiger.
Tiger Shark?
If you're a tiger living in the water, that makes you a shark. That makes you a shark. Yeah. If you're a tiger living in the water, that makes you a shark.
I like that.
Yes.
Is that on Spotify or YouTube? Can
no,
people look it up?
That's on vinyl. Do you know what a vinyl is?
Yeah, big records.
Yes, right. Yes, I have one in my car. I'll give it to you.
Is there any way we can get this on?
Does this computer take vinyl?
This one I don't think it even takes CDs anymore.
Oh, you don't say.
It's all digital.
No.
It's all in it. Most of it's in the cloud. Like, it's not even
in the clouds. You say?
Yeah, the clouds.
Like Lucy's in the sky with diamonds, kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Right, I was there for that.
For Lucy or for
Lucy was a good girl. Yeah, Lucy was a lot of fun. Oh, I had a lot of fun with Lucy.
It was actually a real person the song was written with?
LSD, Josh.
Oh, no.
But Lucy, too. She was terrific.
What? Do you have any other closing thoughts that you want?
Well, just, live your dreams, and if your dad beats the shit out of you, just say, hey, I'm going to do it anyway, I guess that's what I could leave you with, I guess. But, and what were you talking before about protection?
Yeah, like from STDs.
That's not a bad idea. maybe guys should do that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's, oh gosh, HIV, full-blown AIDS, crabs, herpes. Herpes doesn't go away. That stays with you for life.
No kidding.
You shouldn't.
No kidding.
But Sir Nigel.
Yes.
If you never get tested, you never get STDs. So I think you're safe.
I think we should leave on that note.
Yep. Well, thanks you very much, Sir Nigel.
No, it was a pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. This is a great time here in the, what do you call this thing? The Buxty Hootie Studios.
Buxty Hootie Studios. And
I like that. There's a nice ring to it. This J-Kenn fellow must be a pretty funny man, huh?
He's a good guy.
I suppose he is.
My apologies all the loyal listeners that he wasn't here to give this interview, and I hope
he's doing all right in his accident.
He's expected to make a full recovery. He should be back next week.
Well, that's fantastic. He's a tough man, I guess. When I lost my testicle, just one,
Cancer?
No, No, Josh. No, I fell off I was on a tree. I was climbing a tree one day. I took a digger and fell, and I landed in a rose bush. But rose bushes in England are not like the ones here. The thorns are so much more sharp and big. And anyway, that's that.
And yeah, imagination can.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Well, sorry to hear that, Nigel, and I wish you nothing but the best on your travels.
Thank you very much. I'd love to be back on maybe someday.
If you're around anytime, we could maybe sit down with you and catch up and see if you have any new material, new songs, and
right. Maybe I'll bring the guitar next time.
And I'll be looking for that plaque the next time I go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Please do, and let them know. Nigel is asking about it. So. Anyway, Nigel Lennox, if you ever see me around, don't be afraid to buy me a pint, and I'll tell you some stories about the good old days in the 60s and the 70s and a little bit of the 80s and not much of the 90s, but, But yeah, right on. Nice to meet you, chap.
Nice to meet you, too. Now I'm going to have to Febreze the basement here so they don't know you were smoking down here.
I don't know, it's a weird rule, with all it's a free world,
Yeah, times have been changing, Nigel.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and J-Kenn will be back next week.
All right.
See you.
Bye.